smoke is quieting down. Seems like we've got to a lot of the smoke. Dub, you got smoke?
Yo, 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 what's good, y'all? So on Patreon episode 773, Mark Lamont Hill called out Joe Budden for being hypocritical when it comes to gift giving and gift receiving. It all started when Joe Budden casually mentioned to Ish that he would pick him up a pair of Ray-Ban shades to wear during the podcast or whenever, he wants. Now, Joe often sports a pair of shades, especially when he wants to block the haters or when he doesn't want to show, his full emotions on camera. Ish, who also wanted a pair of shades, asked for something similar to what Joe wears. Joe told Ish that while he would be purchasing his own high-end Louis V shades, he'd get Ish a pair of Ray-Bans. Now, Ish wasn't thrilled, with this idea at all. Despite liking Ray-Bans, he felt a bit slighted, as if he was receiving a lesser gift from his friend. In response, he firmly told Joe, if you're getting something nice for yourself, get me the same thing. Now, over the past few weeks, Mark Lamont Hill and Ish have been building a stronger bond. They've gone beyond just being co-workers. They speak regularly on the phone and even recently attended a basketball game together. Their camaraderie was evident on this episode, with Mark increasingly willing to step in on Ish's behalf. As the podcast continued, Joe joked with Mark, telling him that when he goes out to get breakfast, he expects Mark to bring back the same thing for him. The minute Joe said that, Mark immediately called out the hypocrisy in Joe's statement. While Ray-Bans and breakfast are entirely different items in both nature and price, Mark's point was simple. Joe expects the same kind of treatment from Mark that Ish wants from Joe, yet he doesn't seem willing to extend the courtesy to others. Look at the files.
Mark know that anytime he goes to King's in Newark to get himself a meal, just go ahead and pick me up one too. After he survived.
What kind of meal?
After,
You said the same thing, right?
yeah, whatever you get.
Ish, you peeped that?
I did.
He did.
He don't even know the menu.
No, I ain't talking about that part. he went to get sunglasses and got you the lower model. But when it's time to get meals, you want the same thing. Your expectations get the same thing for the other person.
No.
Wow.
Nigga, I'm gonna get the salmon platter. You gonna get oatmeal.
What time did y'all talk last night? Can I get a 1v1 or is it a jump?
Oh shit!
Can I get a 1v1?
Did I get a 1v1?
I just saw the connection.
I'm asking.
The contradiction.
Can I get a 1v1 or is it a jump?
I'm asking you, did I get a 1v1?
Can you answer my question,
You can get
my brother?
whatever.
You can always get a 1v1.
You get a 1v1.
So I can't get a 1v1.
You could.
And I'll square up with you. Just give me a second.
Do your thing.
Brother Mark,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
telling you, get me whatever you get.
I got you.
Because I think that would be simpler than calling or texting me while you're at the spot to take my order.
That wouldn't
as if
happen.
you're-
Oh shit!
That wouldn't happen.
That's what I'm saying.
Me turning 1 to 2 on the Grubhub is a stretch. But you think I'm gonna actually call you and be like,
No, but I thought that was a courteous thing, saying, hey, whatever you get, just get it for me.
and just you? Or am I getting 6 of these joints?
That's new conversations.
This feels like hate.
I'm speaking for me the same way everyone here can speak for them.
All right. Now, I know y'all heard that. I know y'all saw that. Now, Mark's straightforward approach seemed to shake things up. When he sided with Ish, Joe appeared to feel a bit ganged up on. Joe even jokingly asked, maybe a little serious, I don't know. He asked, what time did you guys talk last night? And followed up with a, can I get a one-on-one? 1v1, he actually said. Now, it's as if, Joe isn't fully comfortable with Mark's growing influence on the podcast, especially with Mark's readiness to call out unfair behavior. Mark Lamont Hill brings an educated perspective that Joe may not be used to facing from his co-hosts. Mark's thoughtful intellectual style means, He's quick to challenge some of Joe's actions and statements, including Joe's dismissive comments about Melissa Ford. Mark seems ready, real ready, to confront anything he sees as unjust amongst the co-hosts. Notably, Mark still hasn't been added to the podcast group chat, a detail that hasn't gone unnoticed. Is this an oversight or is it intentional? Anyone who's ever felt excluded from a friend or work group chat can likely relate to that feeling of waiting and wondering if they'll be welcomed in. Now, Mark has shown his willing to stand up for his fellow co-hosts, calling out any unfair treatment. How this dynamic will evolve over time remains to be seen, especially as Joe has hinted that Flip and Imani might have smoke for Mark. This comment could, be Joe subtly setting up a narrative, though his motives are still unclear. I really wonder what he's trying to brew up right there. For real, for real. Now, Ish further elaborated on his frustration with the gift situation by comparing Joe's offer of Ray-Bans to getting Joe oatmeal while he enjoys a full breakfast platter at a restaurant. When Joe tried to secure a private one-on-one conversation with Mark lightly brushed him off, downplaying the need for any extra effort to match orders. Joe had suggested that Mark picking up the same platter for him would be simpler than going back and forth with him over a phone call or text message, but Mark calmly shut him down, hinting that he wouldn't be doing that anyway. Mark's ease and confidence on the podcast are apparent, as he's clear about where he stands. As a new addition, Mark has already made a strong impression with his candid, non-nonsense approach. He already has a group called the Hillmans, you know what I mean? People from the JBTV community that's supporting him. Now, the question remains, though, will this typical dynamic of the Joe Budden podcast impact Mark's unfiltered, authentic style? Mark has already brought a fresh, much-needed voice to the show, but will his dedication to fairness shake up the established dynamics too much? Will Joe continue to be receptive to Mark's honesty, or will tension arise? And how do you think the other hosts, on the podcast will react to Mark's, approach? I think, some people will crash out because Mark is very educated and he will get under your skin with the big words and all of that. And it's a little different from Melissa Ford doing it. So I think over time, a lot of people will, come back at him hard. It's going to get nasty soon. Got a good feeling. Now, what are your thoughts on, the shade situation? Was Joe wrong for offering Ish a different brand? Have you ever been in a similar situation with friends where you felt like you were being given the lesser gift? I mean, I have, but you just got to be grateful sometimes. So, on Joe's side, if I was to shoot him some bail, I would say that Ish is going a little too crazy. But I do understand that this has been a thing between them. And he's like, yo, I don't want to feel like I'm under you or whatever. I'm coming over here to help you with your pod. And we going up. We going viral. We lit. So if you get Louis, I get Louis. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't Ray-Ban me up. I understand it, but there's it's two sides of the coin. It's two ways to think of this joint. You feel me? Now, what do you think about Joe's joke that Ish and Mark might be teaming up against him? Do you think it's a sign of insecurity on Joe's part, or is he just being playful? And do you think Mark's calling out of Joe's behavior will cause friction down the line? Or is this what the show needs, to keep things real? I don't know. I think the show do need it, but, some dynamics do get crazy. You know what I'm saying? Now, let me know what you think in the comments. How do you feel about Marc Lamont's Hill addition to the Joe Budden podcast? And is his straightforward approach refreshing? Or do you think it'll clash with Joe's style over time? Let me know, and we'll be back with the files.
My guy Dub, too. That's my man, though.
Gang, gang.
That's my man, Big Dub.